Hi, I'm shooting this video today actually to show a few ins and outs on a tiny house trailer that I'm building um, for a couple out of Vaughan, Ontario. Shout out, thank you for letting me do this job for you guys. One of the things that I would recommend in Ontario is pretty much when you go to build one of these, you want it to be stable, you want it to be big enough to hold the weight of what you're putting in it, what you're building, the materials, and everything. So one of the things that these people have done is they've splurged, got a dual axle trailer. Now, the goods and bads about that is once you get a dual axle into your trailer, you now have electric brakes. Therefore, now this becomes something that has to be maintained and inspected by the MTO and approved on an annual basis. If you want to avoid that, you should get a single axle trailer. Now again, a single axle trailer is a little bit more back and forth tilt. You don't have the stability of dual axle, of course, but the convenience of a single axle is you could park this on the street a lot more frequent without bylaw giving you any hard times. Dual axle, as I said, MTO gets involved. And now, a few of the pros and cons of a dual axle. One, electric brakes. You're not having to stop this with the vehicle. This has brakes on it and stops it itself as long as your vehicle has electric brake hookup. One thing I would recommend is when you're building it, this one is actually pre-built 2x4 and sheathing for plywood walls. I didn't build that part. They had another contractor that did, and he did a really shoddy job. Very thin plywood, 2x4s, not 16 centers. Pretty much you just mishmashed them in. So now I have to insulate and figure out what I'm gonna do, cut some and fill it in and just pretty much go with that. One thing definite recommending is when you go to side this, as you could see here, the siding's already been done. I did this side already. I did the back as well. And you could see the back here. There's no J-trim along the top yet because what I plan on doing is putting an aluminum cap over it because it's going to have a steel roof. So now as for this here, when you do side it, big tip, make sure the trailer is level when you are siding it. If you start siding it and put a level across the siding here and put this up level, but your trailer's not level, once this gets parked somewhere and gets leveled, you will notice your siding tilted like so. Last thing you want is it to look funny. So make sure the trailer is squared up, level, and then you can start to put your siding. Another thing which I like, when they bought this trailer, they purchased it brand new. They actually had the company install a big aluminum sheet straight across the entire bottom, as you could see. Now the reason why that is because they had spray foam all filled underneath. That's great for insulation because otherwise, no matter what insulation you put inside, if the floor is cold, well, it doesn't really make much of a difference what you put inside. So they plan on putting a bathroom right here. It's going to be a little compost bathroom. So we installed a window. I did the window installation. I did all these installations of these windows. They've picked a window that's actually a vertical. They got it from a Restore, brand spanking new, really good price. So what we did is we installed it horizontally. Now these can crank open going up. They put a slight slope on the roof to help with runoff of the rain and snow, which is a good idea. They also plan on putting a little deck across the front here for a step out. They decided to go with the door across the front, so when they park it, it's easier access for them, plus they could visually watch the door and make sure it's closed correctly when they're driving. The things that I don't like is whoever built this framework did a really bad job. Didn't double up. If anything, if you could see right here, right across the front to right here, I had to take all this apart and redo all this door. The reason why that was is they made the door 30 inches wide. Now, if you know anything about doors, there's next to no door you could purchase that's 30 inches wide. And that's not door, that is rough cut. So from 2x4 to 2x4, they made it 30 inches. So that means the door itself would have had to been roughly 28.5-inch door. And they made it too short as well. So I had to tear all this open and redo it. Even the walls, they used as I said, very thin plywood. Just not good work. Really pretty much basic. They installed a 4x4 across the top here. Yeah, I guess you can use that, but just not what regular contractors do. What we plan on doing across here, because that is the wheel well, is we are going to do an aluminum square coming off of here and going straight down, and then bending underneath and going on the floor. So it's going to be squared, all aluminum capped, and then done in wood to stabilize it. And that will do is stop any moisture from coming in once it's all sealed. I personally would have liked the idea of going with a pintle hitch. The reason why that's a good idea is it just gives it more stability, more strength, less chance of popping off. But all in all, great choice on the purchase. This is the siding. What I did around the corners is nice cut groove to go right around. They decided to go with a wicker color siding to match the windows. Windows are a beautiful choice. Good clean windows. And as I said, for the price I paid for them from a restore, how do you go wrong? Brand spanking new. Now we are gonna go with a steel roof. A lot of people decide to just put the steel roof directly on top of the wood. I do not. I put Suprema high temperature peel and stick. The reason why I would recommend high temperature is because black steel roof on any kind of peel and stick will cause it to start to melt and then drip down over the siding or over whatever you finish it with. So yeah, high temperature Suprema. You pay a little bit more, but you definitely get more bang for your buck. Easy lube hubs, great idea. Great idea. If you have any questions or want to know anything, any tips or any ideas on what to do with certain things, give me a message. Feel free to drop a comment and we'll go from there. I'll also send you updates on once I put the insulation, the electrical, the fuse panel, and an outlet to power this entire thing on the go from a generator. As well, they might be placing a generator mount welded to the back corner of the back side, and that will pretty much hold the generator. Pretty much welded a box across the back, and so a generator can sit right in it. So when they're on the go, generator's outside, they don't even have to bring it in. This is the actual steel roofing. Nice thick gauge, not cheap. Not cheap in the sense that it's cheap quality. Value, not that expensive. I think this was $205 for 100 feet. Actually just over 100 feet. They give you a little extra and everything, so it comes out to like 110 feet for $205 tax in. Great investment. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I have a brake. So do I. I could have done aluminum, bend it, and made it look good, and then put it over top. But that's thin. It's not as durable as this thicker stuff. As you can see, it's nice and thick. Takes a lot to bend it. It's definitely not an easy material to play with. Again, any other questions? Feel free to leave a comment or question.